So, pretty nice day of sailing out there, I think. Obviously a little crazy with nice big righty come in all day long, but can't argue with the sailing that we got to do. For those that have never had a debrief with me, I kind of pick on the top 3 or 4 boats of the day and make them talk about it as well. The whole plan is to try to get our fleet condensed and be closer in sailing and better across the board, and really propel the fleet forward. So I'll start with a couple of little. I made some notes today actually, which is kind of unusual for me, but getting old and dumb. Rig tune today. We were all day 6 turns, full turns on the cap, and 2.5 turns on the lowers. Basically, we went out really early and just kind of looked at the rig, and it was when we were sheeted on, the leeward shrouds were really just flapping in the breeze, so we tightened them up a little bit, and I just sort of kept. They still were flapping in the breeze at the end of the day. We could have gone another step up probably, but that's sort of where we stayed. Also, because we sailed so long with the Velocitech, I kind of determined that 5.5 knots, 5.5 was my target for the day, and I didn't really change that very much because again, as the water's so flat, it didn't get bumpy during the day to make you need to change your target. So I worked really hard at being between 5.3 and 5.8. At 5.3, I would drop the Traveler and bow down a little bit, get back up to 5.8-ish, and Traveler back on to get back up to the 5.5. Obviously, some of the big shifts, if you're in a bad lane, you can't quite get to that, but that was sort of my target of the day. My main sheet, Bang and Cunningham were pretty much as hard as I could pull, or we could pull them today, going upwind. And the Traveler was really very few times below center and up to all the way up at times. If it was a little bit light and I was pressing on the sail trying to get back up to my numbers. In the puffs, I really worked hard at or feathering hard to keep just turning. I mean, it seemed like it was mostly right, but keep turning up, or So we had a couple times. Mark came in like 3 times, I think, and lee bowed us, and I kind of suckered him a little bit by aiming down at him. As I saw, I knew it was going to be close, and then when he tacked, we'd come back up, but we still had to fight hard to keep in our lane, and it was always, because he was a starboard lee bow, it was always fighting and knock. It's like up to the top part of the marks here. It always felt like you were fighting a little lefty. So I worked really, really, really hard at just keeping the bow up and get down to like 4.9 a little bit, so when it caved in, I would still have my lane and I wasn't forced to tack. So that was kind of, and then a couple times where we got big lifts, I just focused then, trap down and go fast to try to, minimize that a little bit. So it was kind of upwind. Downwind, I think a couple of our big gains, for sure in the first race, is we sailed quite a distance wing on wing. And we would kind of wing on wing, and then we'd flip back, and then we'd come wing on wing again. And that was basically my go-to when I didn't know where the puff was going to come. I saw a puff coming, I didn't know what was favored, so we would wing on wing just to kind of go straight at the mark and kind of figure it out. We had a couple times with Mark in the second race, it was tactical to go wing on wing, and it really closed our gap with them, and we kind of got them at the end by doing it again.
What was your boat speed when you were wing on wing?
I couldn't time.
Slow.
Did you look?
Like 6s.
Yeah, maybe mid to high 6s. So it's just a tool. If you haven't done it, tomorrow when you go out to practice beforehand, try it if you have any desire to do it. It's a great tool. It just helps you set up. You're coming into the leeward mark and you're not quite laying, but it's not worth a jibe. Flip the main over and wing on wing into it, and it's a huge
starboard advantage. Move it over.
well and starboard advantage. Yeah. But that's a huge tool. We're doing it more and more. J70s we do almost. In today's pressure, the whole fleet of J70s would be wing on wing all the way to the, like just going all the way down. Yeah. This boat's not quite as friendly because it's fatter. Flat water makes a big difference, and you can do it in flat water. And today was probably, we tried it a little bit on, what day is it? Today is Monday? So Saturday. We tried a little bit on Saturday, and it was too light Saturday, so we never did it. But yeah, but today was perfect for it. The other thing, and then just really, as Jonah will tell you, I'm really hard on whoever the third person is that's looking back, because all I want to hear the whole time is where's the pressure, what's the fastest way to get to it. And then if there's a boat there on my brief, then he talks about that, but it's really where's the pressure, what's the best way to get to it. And we just try to connect the dots in that regard. Upwind the same way, but downwind it's so key downwind, because these boats, a little bit of puff, as we all know, the boat accelerates. Upwind, the boat, you get a 5 knot puff and it goes maybe a 1/10 of a knot better. Downwind, you get a 5 knot puff and it's almost a knot at times. I mean, or if it's the marginal into the plane, then it's even more. But so we really just focus on downwind. Where's the pressure? What's the fastest way for me to get there? If I have to jibe, I jibe. If I have to heat, I heat. But that's sort of the thing. Couple things that I noticed from off the boat were probably not hard enough for some people on their Vangs and Cunninghams. Keith can't put any Vang on really, I think, is part of the carbon problem, right? Once you get that to the upper end of it, it just
we only put so much on, and then it just overbends the nipples.
Yeah.
It's a fine line.
Yeah. And then one thing that I'll pick on Mark for a minute, because past champion, makes it easy. Well, but
His day's coming.
I wasn't anywhere near him at the time.
Mark made it pretty easy on 2 of the 4 lee bows. You guys hit me 4 times, right? Yeah, because you did a big Batman turn so it made it even easier for me. So just watch how you tack. One thing that I do is I have probably by far the longest traveler, because I have it so that when I tack, I can keep my hand on the leeward traveler, and it's long enough that I can reach it all the way around and cleat the new one. So it's wrapped all the way around the boat, so that I keep the traveler in the middle as it's turning, and then I just never lose tension, and it's kind of weird. I have to show you on the boat, but so that the traveler doesn't come back down, or you're not doing 2 things, trying to cleat and move, and so. So I believe Chris is in second. Is that correct? Yeah. So let's hear from Mr. Chambers. What was your day like? What did you do in your rig?
So we started out at base on our tin rig, and we did the first race at base, which was very loose, because we were kind of tuning for the lulls rather than the puffs. And then second race we went up, and third race we went up again.
So what was your
Third race went up in the lower zone.
So what was your up on then? How 2 turns, 1 turn, 5 8 turns?
Yeah, went up half turns only 5 and 3,
Okay.
and then went up another turn and a half on the lower.
So that's
you know, and we were using an old loose bead,
Yeah.
loose gauge. And we were reading 40 and 40 on it when we got into the.
Did you guys look up your mast at all? Because that's something that I did.
Yeah, I did.
That's something that I did before the first start. Is I went 4 and 1.5, and I kind of went up and looked at it, and the tip was falling off. So I went the 2 more turns, and I think that could be part of why your main looks so over wrinkly is
Yeah.
because it's bowing a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Definitely inside out,
that's
too,
one.
really.
I always look up the back of my
I was
mouth.
scared.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but that's true because
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I'm
from
gonna need to get faster.
from the back end, from the back end of the boat. I mean, a couple of times, we tried to bring the Traveler and up and keep the boom on center line, but it's deceiving for me because I'm thinking I'm on center line and I'm not, and it's down low, and so I think what we're accustomed to sailing in on the West Coast is heavy breeze, where it just starts to pick up today, and so same thing. We bang sheet, and you have to. So the skipper's got to be playing the main sheet a lot because you'll do a double wrap and you'll pull, and then you load up on the bang, and all of a sudden there's another literally 8 to 12 inches in there, and we had the discussion on board today as to whether or not to ease the main sheet or drop the Traveler, and I find that it's to keep that sail as flat as possible. It's a lot easier to adjust the tiller and then crack off on the Traveler. So that's a lot. I mean, I'm always for the big plus.
The other reason for that is that the main sheet and your bang or your backstay, and even if you have your bang on hard and you use the main sheet,
Yeah.
the headstay gets soft.
Exactly right.
So that's the
That's a good
trade-off that you have in there. And that's
Because
why
I've seen a
once I have the
20
main sheet
when I would
on,
drop it,
it
I
was
see the-
very rare that I touch the main sheet after that.
So
with all
that's,
travel.
that's the
Yeah,
reason.
exactly. So
I
it
gotta
seems a
start
little
doing
counterintuitive because you're getting these big puffs and you want to bear off and ease and create more twist in that main. You need to depower it, and so you could actually, when you're in the groove, you can drive the boat with the main sheet because the tiller's here, the main sheet's here, and you're cracking off on the tiller and you're just giving little adjustments forward. But if you drop the Traveler in those big puffs, obviously a big rudder up there, and so it'll take it up, and you feel the boat not heel anymore. You'll load that on, and then use the main sheet to kind of fine tune. But the main requires so much pressure and so much tension that I'm hesitant to mess with it too much because it's a big. If I drop it 6 inches, the boat goes really flat, and the puff is gone. And now we've gone from 14 knots to 7 knots of breeze, and our speedo was dead, so we didn't have a speedo on board. But the boat would flatten out, and you couldn't bring the Traveler up enough to get any kind of helm to the boat. So you had to then, it's a big load for me anyhow. So it's like 2 wraps and brace and pull on that, which is it's not an easy fine tune adjustment. So.
It's
So
work.
it's easier to put the Traveler down.
A lot easier to sit there.
Play the main off and then try to get it back.
They used other terms for what I was doing, but all day long. The nice part about it is it resonates throughout the hall, so they at least know that I'm working there.
You are being filmed, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works.
So now downwind, you guys do something totally different than anybody else.
Well, we were experiencing a little problem with our halyard today. We experienced the same problem in San Francisco, which is, I think, at the top of our mast. And so we had to go soak it deep downwind to get the spinnaker up. And then it was,
And that's not even what I'm talking about.
yeah, it was all,
You have
weather heel.
your front up at the mast.
Yeah. And so,
So why do you do that?
well, we try and get the wetted surface out of the water, which was kind of a balance today because there are times when you're driving down forward and you feel like you're leveling the boat, but the ass end is so big and so wide. When you scrub your bottom, you look at the big ring going there through there. I mean, you have to get that up as much. And so we move forward, and we have Laura in front of the mast, and then no, the big butts are in the back.
That's right, offset.
That's right. And so but at certain points, then you start, you start planing, and you're realizing you're planing, and we're heavily heeled to windward, trying to roll the spinnaker in front to get it out from behind the main. So if you see us going downwind a lot, the boat's heeled over to windward, and we try and roll that chute out as far as we can, but then we're getting leeward breaks the whole day, and it was a lot of communication back and forth as to trying to stop the leeward break on the spinnaker. So
having that, when we do a lot of the sailing we do on the Ultimate 20's in Detroit, we put somebody up in the mast as well, and it becomes an incredibly reactive place to have your crew move their weight to respond to the boats going up and down rather than the tiller actually moving.
right. And then when we jibe, we try, like everybody tries to roll tack a little bit. You couldn't do that so much today, but on the jibe you can actually kind of squash the boat through. And that, in order to do that, you need to have something to push against. So, we'll jibe through, let that spinnaker load up for a minute. Everybody's still a little bit low on the boat, and then as a driver, you actually have to grab a handful of main sheet and hold that there to keep it from going up against the spreader while everybody goes back to windward and lets the foils kind of kick you forward. And there are a couple of times there where, we would get pretty good shot going through, and the boat would actually kind of carve through like this. But you have to also hold that main to keep that pressure, otherwise you lose a lot of that ability. Going downwind, we did find some pretty good success heeling the boat over, getting the chute out in front of the pole.
And at Tac's point, that forward's only allowed to say 6 words. Puff, coming, puff, over there. If you're permanently backwards like that.
Yeah, so our communication is forward is talking to the trimmer, and I'm not listening to that at all. I'm listening to the trimmer. Insofar as up, down, pressure, I got pressure, I have no pressure. She's painting the picture for that. So.
All right. Sir Alan.
As far as rig tension, we were pretty much the same as you. We were up 6 from base, which was Saturday. So we're at 6 on the caps. I tune my rig more visually than anybody else. So Saturday, what I'm looking at is on my base setting, there's the middle of the mast dropping off 2 or 3 inches. Right, so it hooks to mine. So my lowers are very loose, so having numbers on the lowers are relevant. Very similar to the tin rig. So first race, I waffled back and forth a lot between up 6 and 9. I think we settled on up 9 for the first race, so I was probably a little bit too tight. Both felt very sticky going up there. Between the first race and second race, we backed off 2 on the caps, left the lowers where they were. The mast was very straight tight. Just tightened up the lowers so they were straight up and down. And then from the second race to the third race, I backed off to the end of the day +5. And I took 4 turns off the lowers going to the last race, trying to get that sag back in the mast. So that's great tension for there. My main sheet is very similar to Tac's. I pull it on hard until I hear the bearings on the Traveler start to grind. But if it makes a horrible noise, it's perfect. And dumping Traveler staying in the puffs, drop very quickly. When it flattens out, squirts forward, and then I start pulling it back on as it loads up. Out of the puff. Just keep on driving that forward. Upwind again, especially Saturday when it was lighter. Crew doing a really good job moving crew weight around, getting up on the rail, trying not to make tiller adjustments. and having the crew, along from High Park, Duff and Traveler, so we're fully booked up. Ran a lot of bang, a lot of Cunningham today. So to the point where I'm all the way up on the Traveler. At that point, if the boat is not powered up enough, we can then start dumping bang. And as it gets powered up again, pull bang back on, start dumping Traveler. So those are the gears we were using. I think alcohol was on pretty hard all day.
Yeah, and this much breeze, we don't even ease it on the run, just because then it's, we forget the motor part.
Yeah,
So,
That's a problem then.
right, exactly. Because then you can't get it tight enough
You can't get it
without
tight.
dumping the main sheet. So we don't even, it just stays pretty much pinned. That's
Yeah.
right.
Downwind, pretty much in displacement mode most of the day. Had a couple of puffs where we got up and down, but really trying to do the same thing Chris does, rotate the boat to weather, get some rotation on that. We run our tack line probably higher than most, anywhere 16, 18 inches up off the culvert to get some of that rotation. And just trying to run it deep where it looks like it's going to start to collapse and come up there quickly. Keep it full and really run that ragged edge to try and run as deep as possible.
Great.
Cool. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you guys, in some of the low, you pick the rope trim and make it up.
Today, no. I mean, I eased it a couple times.
How's it sad?
Yeah.
So it's a few
Yeah.
dollars.
You know, if you did.
Yeah, but probably only like, for me, it was probably only like 3 or 4 inches maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little burp. But yeah, not a whole lot. And we didn't touch our bang other than on or off.
So how much twist in the jib? Are you sliding cars aft, or are you kind of keeping
Actually-
the tension?
Today we went a whole set of holes different, which we don't have any intermediate holes, so it was a pretty good chunk. Because on Saturday I felt like we were, and talking to a couple of the other guys around, we all sort of talked that we thought my jib leads were pretty far aft, so I moved them forward today. And then all we really do, we just look through the spreader window and make sure that the top telltale's flying all the time. And other than that, trim it as hard as you can until it, and then ease it a little 1/4 of an inch back. The one thing with these jibs is they're so skinny that a 1/4 inch of sheet is so big at the top because they're just such a high aspect sail, they just twist right open. So it's just a matter of keeping that top telltale flying, the beach telltale flying the whole time.
Any cross sheet at all?
No,
Just the whole.
you know, I've tried that.
You mean in hauling?
In hauling, yeah. I've tried that on this boat. This boat's a little weird because the other thing is today, on almost every other sprit boat, we'd have the jib out. And it just doesn't seem to work. I can't figure it out. I mean, the Melgus 20, the 24, the Viper, the VX, the J70 probably today, we would have been,
Not even planing, you can't even get it to work.
no, even when you're planning. We tried that in Detroit in the big wind
Yeah,
day.
so it fully eliminates blow-through jobs as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. But, so I've tried the in-hauler thing, and I don't know. I didn't today. I didn't Saturday. Kind of keeping it a little simple, but I don't know that it worked. So, Jib Halyard was just a little wrinkle in the front of the sail today. And so that was kind of where we were.
We had that wrinkle in there, and then on the second race, we took it out. We were pretty snug.
Yeah, it's flat water.
Yeah. Mark?
So we were just snug, so we wrinkled. So we were a little snug.
Anybody else?
Want something?
So your rig tension up off the base. So we were base all day.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, so we were
And we were
6.
doing wind
gotta
readings,
ask
and the
what base
highest
is.
we got was what, 12, 1.5?
Numbers have always been weird because I think our gauge is different.
I'm talking 6 full turns
Show me what base is
on
and
each
measure.
trout. each upper, 2.5 on each lower.
You have open turnbuckle.
No, I have the rod stand.
Oh, so it's only 3 then.
No, it's a 6 full turn.
So that is. But you're only half a turn from what our open turnbuckles.
What's that?
They're different.
They're
The
coarser.
versus the open.
The opens are coarser thread or finer
Old
thread.
school's okay.
More turns
Well,
are
so then I guess I was
Okay.
plus
so you're
3 and plus
Opens are
2.
more turns are the same or less.
I still want 6 full turns on mine.
Collecting it all on
If
one
he says
time.
1 on his, it's 2 on an open. Well, okay.
Or I'm sorry, the other way.
Other way.
The last race
Your
though, I was,
portion.
Okay, we're open.
there was the second race that we did the 3?
Less turn.
Or was the last
Less
race?
turns on the open.
Second race I probably could have been a little harder, but
Deal, what'd you guys see, 17 max? Out there today, 17 max.
yeah,
Just a skosh over.
yeah.
I think I got 17.3 on one bird. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Cool. Well, I'll try to do this again tomorrow.
Great.
Thanks, guys.